You didn't lose because the market was rigged. You didn't lose because the timing was bad. You lost because you refused to quit. And here is the part no one will say to your face. You already knew it was over 6 months ago. Maybe a year. You watched the numbers. You felt it. But quitting meant admitting you were wrong. So instead, you kept pouring in more money, more time, more excuses. The sunk cost fallacy doesn't look like stupidity. It looks like loyalty. It looks like persistence. That is exactly why it destroys people. It hides inside your best qualities and bleeds you dry. This isn't about bad luck. It is about the moment your ego became more expensive than your losses. Here is what is actually happening inside your brain. Every dollar you've already spent. The rent, the inventory, the salary you paid yourself in promises. Your mind has filed that away as a debt the future owes you. So you keep going. Not because it makes financial sense. Because stopping feels like those resources disappear. Like you've wasted them. But they're already gone. The moment you spent them, they were gone. The only question now is, how much more are you willing to sacrifice to avoid saying 2 words? I quit. Your brain will manufacture 100 reasons to stay. A new strategy. A different season. 1 more month. That is not optimism. That is the fallacy doing its job. Keeping you trapped, bleeding, and convinced you are being brave. You know what the real cost is. It is not the money. You can rebuild money. It is the years. It is the relationships. The partner who watched you drain the joint account for the 4th time. The parents who lent you their retirement savings because they believed in you. The friends who stopped asking how the business is going. Not because they forgot, but because they already know. You are not protecting an investment. You are protecting your identity. The version of yourself that started this. The one who is going to prove everyone wrong. And now every month you stay open. Every time you swipe that card, you are not fighting for success. You are fighting against the shame of being wrong. Do you see the difference? There are 2 kinds of people in this situation. The first type doubles down every time. Not because they have a plan, because they have a narrative. They are the founder, the visionary. Quitting isn't in their story, so they take out another loan. They restructure. They pivot 3 more times. They tell themselves it is resilience. The second type does something brutal. They look at the numbers without their ego in the room. They ask one question: if I hadn't already invested everything, would I start this today with what I know now? If the answer is no, they cut. Clean. Fast. The first type calls the second type a coward. The second type calls the first type a cautionary tale. Which story are you living right now? Let's make this concrete. Restaurant. Open 3 years. Month 1. Small losses. Normal. Month 12. Same small losses. You adjust the menu. Month 18. You take out a personal loan. 50,000. Month 24. You stop paying yourself. Month 30. Your spouse gets a second job. You tell yourself it is a phase. Month 36. The bank calls. You are still open. Why? Because you've already put in so much. Because closing feels like failure. Because failure feels like death. But here is the math no one wants to do. Every month you stay open, past the point of no return, isn't perseverance. It is a slow-motion decision to go bankrupt on installments. The fallacy didn't ruin your business. You let the fallacy make the decisions. Here's the problem most people never diagnose. Your brain runs 2 separate accounts. One for money, one for identity, and they don't communicate. You might intellectually know the business is dead. The spreadsheet is clear, but your identity account is completely overdrawn. Because that business is how you define yourself to the world. So you keep paying the identity account with real money. Every new investment is actually a purchase. You are not buying a future. You are buying 1 more month of being the person who didn't give up. 1 more month of answering, "How is it going?" without lying. That is mental accounting in its most expensive form. You are literally paying rent on a version of yourself that no longer exists, and it will cost you everything before it finally admits it is bankrupt. There is a moment, and if you've been there, you know exactly what I am talking about, where your body tells you before your brain does. You wake up at 3 a.m., not anxious, not planning, just awake, staring at the ceiling, doing the math you've already done 100 times. You are not problem-solving anymore. You are just sitting with the knowledge you are not allowed to say out loud. Your gut already filed the bankruptcy. Your nervous system already sent the memo. But your mouth won't say it. So you stay. You go back the next morning. You put on the same face. You train your employees on new protocols for a ship that is already sinking. Have you ever noticed how much energy it takes to convince yourself of something your body stopped believing months ago? And understand, this isn't accidental. The system profits from your inability to quit. Banks offer restructuring, not because they believe in your turnaround, because restructuring keeps you paying interest longer. Business consultants sell you a new pivot strategy. Investors call it a temporary correction. Every person who benefits from your continued operation has an incentive to tell you to keep going. They'll frame it as belief in you. It is belief in your payments. The sunk cost fallacy is the most profitable psychological trap ever discovered, because it turns your own psychology into a collection mechanism. You become so committed to not admitting defeat that you will voluntarily hand over everything you have left: the house, the retirement account, the relationships. Thursday. You don't need to force you. Your shame does all the work. There is a story that cuts through all of this. Two business partners, same sinking venture. One of them gets a settlement offer. 60 cents on the dollar. Walk away now. Lose some. Keep the rest. The other partner refuses. Too proud. We're worth more than that. They go to court. 2 years and $400,000 in legal fees later, they get 30 cents on the dollar. They lost double trying to protect their ego from losing once. The partner who took the settlement started something new, profitable inside 14 months. The partner who fought, still talking about the case at dinner parties 3 years later. Two different decisions. Same information, same loss. One person paid the price once, the other is still paying it. Let me give you a diagnostic. 4 questions. No judgment. Just answer honestly. 1 is the decision to continue based on current data, or on what you've already put in. 2. If a stranger with your exact numbers asked your advice, would you tell them to keep going? 3. Are you staying because of real opportunity, or because stopping feels like proof that you failed? 4. How much of the money you are still spending belongs to someone else? A family member, a lender, a partner who trusts you. If questions 3 and 4 hit different than 1 and 2, you already have your answer. The fallacy doesn't live in spreadsheets. It lives in the gap between what you know and what you are willing to admit. That gap is costing you more than any bad investment ever could. Here is the reframe, and I want you to sit with this one. Quitting is not the opposite of success. Continuing past the point of no return is the opposite of success. Quitting when the data is clear, when the body already knows, when the cost is bleeding people you love. That is the most strategically intelligent decision available to you. It takes more courage to cut a loss than to keep feeding it. Anybody can stay. Staying requires nothing except the willingness to keep suffering. Leaving requires you to look in the mirror and say, I made a decision. It didn't work. I am not going to let it take everything else down with it. That sentence, that is not weakness. That is the sentence that saves your financial life. And the people who can say it quickly are the ones who build something real on the other side. The enemy was never the bad investment. The bad investment is just a number. Numbers can be recovered. The real enemy is the story you built around the investment. The version of yourself that exists only as long as you keep going. That story will cost you more than any market crash, any bad partner, any economic recession. Because it doesn't stop at the business. It teaches you a pattern. Next time something fails, you'll do it again, longer, more expensive. With higher stakes, because you never learned to close the loop. The fallacy isn't a one-time mistake. It is a habit of mind. And habits of mind compound the same way interest does. In the wrong direction, silently, until one day, you are 60 years old, explaining to yourself why you couldn't let go back when you still had time. Nobody teaches you this. You are not weak for falling into it. This fallacy breaks people with PhDs, people with 3 successful exits, people who know better. It is not about intelligence. It is about what happens when your identity gets fused with a decision. Now you know the mechanism. Now you can see it. If you caught yourself in blocks 3, 7, or 10, that is your data, not your verdict. Use it. Subscribe. Because every week this channel hands you the exact psychological trap that is draining your money before you have a chance to name it. Whoever learns to see the trap first stops paying for it last. Your past money is gone. Your future money isn't. Don't confuse the two.